We want to start in Butte County with more information on that gunman's background, including his connection to the Sacramento area. Thanks for joining us at 6. I'm Gulston Dart.
And I'm Edie Lambert. The sheriff once again emphasized that this was targeted because of the school's connection to the Seventh-day Adventist religion, and they confirmed that after discovering writings from the gunman. The Butte County sheriff has identified him as 56-year-old Glenn Litton. He opened fire on children who were out for their recess at the Feather River Adventist School near Palermo just after 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon. He had just come out of a meeting with the principal, which he had set up to talk about enrolling his grandchild. Right after that, he shot 2 boys, 5 and 6 years old, and then shot himself. Within minutes, officers and deputies found his body on campus with a handgun beside him.
And the Butte County DA says that Litton has a long criminal record and appears to be homeless, drifting between the Sacramento and Chico areas for years. He was last known to law enforcement in Butte County going back to 2003, but did have run-ins with other departments as recently as this year. And we have learned that he himself attended a Seventh-day Adventist school in the town of Paradise when he was a child.
And we certainly want to bring you updates on those victims in the shooting. Roman Mendez is 6 years old and a kindergartner. The sheriff says he was shot twice and has serious internal injuries. He is in critical condition, but he is stable. And Elias Wolford is a 5-year-old kindergartner. He was shot once in the abdomen. He also has serious internal injuries. And the sheriff says he is also in critical condition, but stable.
All right, we put together some live team coverage for this developing story with more on the victims in this and the reaction from the community, as well as the gunman's criminal history. First, though, we're going to go to Maricela de la Cruz with what we learned about the moments before that shooting. Maricela.
Yeah, well, as you mentioned, we learned that Glenn Litton had a lengthy criminal history among those crimes, forgery and identity theft. And we also learned what happened leading up to that shooting. So we know that Glenn Litton was in Chico yesterday morning. He took a bus to Oroville. There he made a stop at a Rayleigh's for energy drinks. And we know that after that stop, he did request an Uber. He requested that Uber just after 11:30 yesterday under the alias Mark Hansen, and asked the driver to drop him off at Feather River Adventist School. That drop-off happened just after 12 o'clock yesterday. He met up with the school principal under the pretenses of enrolling his grandchild. He toured the facility, and after that, Litton walked towards the bathroom. That's when staff heard those gunshots. They heard the screaming. It's unknown at this time how many shots were fired, and police do believe that the weapon that Litton had was a ghost gun.
And the children at the school were finishing up their noon break and were in the process of heading back to the classroom. Note that he has his hand inside his jacket near his waistband. We believe that is where he was concealing the firearm. After that, he pulls the firearm and initiates his attack. That's when the 2 boys that we have talked about earlier were shot.
We were told that Litton does not have a grandchild, and he also had an alternative target he had set up to tour the Red Bluff Seventh-day Adventist School. He had set up that tour for today using the same alias, Mark Hansen, and using also the same reason. We are live. Maricela de la Cruz, KCRA 3 News.
All right, Maricela, thank you.
And KCRA 3 investigates Lizzie Meach, who's been going through dozens of documents from Litton's criminal past. She joins us now live with that update from our newsroom. Lizzie.
ED, investigators say Glenn Litton has had several convictions for crimes ranging from theft to fraud and forgery. The Butte County Sheriff's Office says Glenn Litton's first prison sentence was in 1991 for theft. In 2002, the Butte County District Attorney says Litton stole the IDs of a handful of people in the area, making fraudulent credit card charges in their names. At the time of his arrest, deputies found him at a wig shop buying a disguise.
In his car outside, officers did a search after his arrest, found leg shackles, handcuffs, and walkie-talkies. The search warrant of his residence at that time showed, again, some issues of concern that basically found a bulletproof vest and parts for a taser.
Years later, he also pleaded guilty in 2 separate federal cases for identity theft, one in 2016, another in 2015. And in this detention document from his 2015 case, the judge ruled there was a serious risk the defendant will endanger the safety of another person or the community. The document goes on to say the court was concerned that Litton would flee because of a lack of information about family ties, travel habits, employment history, and his mental health. Investigators say Litton had at least 2 encounters with law enforcement this year before the shooting. He was accused of stealing in March on his 2nd day on the job at a CVS in Phoenix, and then stealing a U-Haul truck in November from Chico. Before, of course, being booked most recently at the San Bernardino County Jail on a warrant for burglary. And we know he was released on his own recognizance in that case just 2 weeks ago.
People may be frustrated to hear about someone released like that just 2 weeks ago with that kind of history. And viewers may also be wondering, with this long list of convictions, all those run-ins with the law, how long were his sentences?
We know in his 2 separate federal cases, he had sentences for 2 years for each of those. But another thing to keep in mind is a lot of these cases were not violent cases. They did not involve violent crimes. It was often theft and forgery. We also have been digging up federal court records, though, that note his mental health issues as early as the age of 16. So this is something we're going to continue digging into, and we'll bring you more about his criminal past as we get that information.
Okay, Lizzie, thank you.
All right, we know at least one of the children injured is being treated at UC Davis right now. In KCRA 3's Leanne Denyer is getting us some information on their conditions. Leanne, we learned more about the minutes after the shooting, crucial minutes when those boys needed help immediately.
Yeah, and we've heard about how these kids were on their noon break. They were heading back to their classroom. The sheriff said that the principal actually heard the sounds, rushed over, and began trying to give them aid. The sheriff earlier today did release the names, ages of these children that were shot. I believe we have those pictures for everybody at home now. We'll call those up so you can see what the sheriff did provide earlier today. The sheriff says that 6-year-old Roman Mendez and 5-year-old Elias Wolford are both in kindergarten and are receiving care after being shot. The sheriff says that Roman was shot twice and Elias once. Both of them have internal injuries. The Butte County Sheriff also sharing that he has visited with both of their families at the trauma center.
One of the things that we learned from the physicians is that the boys are both in critical condition. They have a very long road ahead of them in terms of recovery. It's very likely that they are going to have a number of surgeries as going forward. But the fact that they are currently still with us, I think, is a miracle and something that we should all be very thankful for.
I did speak very briefly with Roman's sister today. She shared with me that she wanted to share with the community how thankful they are for all of the support so far and for any donations that have come in. They have set up a fundraiser for Roman as they are trying to figure out how they're going to navigate this. We do have a link to that right now on our website at UC Davis Medical Center. Leanne Denyer, KCRA 3 News.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are ready and willing to help however they can. You look at those 2 pictures and yeah. Well, thanks for that, Leanne. We'll continue to follow the boys' conditions and hopefully quicker recovery. We're learning tomorrow that there will be a candlelight vigil for those 2 boys who are recovering in the hospital. The community can come together at 5:15. This is going to be in front of the Christmas tree in downtown Oroville. That's out on Myers Street. This is going to be ahead of the tree lighting that's scheduled there for 7 o'clock tomorrow night. And then more to the point of how you can help. Monday, there's going to be a fundraiser. This will directly benefit the families of those 2 boys who were shot and they face long recoveries, Roman Mendez and Elias Wolford. This fundraiser is going to be at the Southside Community Center in Oroville at 5:30. And we've received a lot of updates on this case within the past hour, and you can find all of that information that's on our website now or on the KCRA 3 app. Click on the notifications and you'll get all the latest information on that.